Today is a very special edition because it's about a specific component of leadership communication that is unique to your experience as a non native speaker, and that's pronunciation. This is something that a leader who's a native speaker doesn't have to worry about as much pronunciation, intonation. So you are navigating at a really high level in your profession with much more responsibility and with a much busier mental load than some of your counterparts. And so today I'm going to talk to you about some of the most difficult sounds in American English and full transparency to also introduce you to my Advanced Pronunciation Accelerator program. So if you want more in-depth training, you can always use that as a resource. So today we're going to explore some of the most difficult sounds in American English. Now, these are the ones that, again, I've been doing this for over 20 years. Even at the most advanced levels, there are struggles with pronunciation that people have even after years of speaking English. And in fact, those are some of the most challenging things because your pronunciation is muscle memory. Pronunciation is movement. So if your mouth, if your tongue, if your lips have moved in a specific way for years, it takes time, patience, and practice to undo that. And so that's one of the biggest struggles. Part of it is the mindset, right? The ego, oh, I can't believe I've been saying that word wrong for years and like I'm embarrassed. We're putting ego aside. And I'm going to show you the method that I use that will help you break through so you can get the fluency mindset that you need and the pronunciation feedback that you really want. So the first thing I want to know is, where are you from? I'm always interested in knowing what countries you're from. It also helps me know what linguistic background so I can give you some more specified tips. Just the nuance of I love this stuff because when you don't know what you're doing wrong if nobody points it out to you. And it's not that you're doing anything wrong. Again, this is for clarity, which is our first goal, and then American accent modification if that's something that you're interested in. But first and foremost, it's clarity. And the way that I do pronunciation, you'll see me do this a lot because it is so muscular. So it's not just about say it this way. It's really about understanding, where do your lips go? What's your tongue doing? Where is the sound? And I find that that gives you better results faster. Let's talk about some of the benefits of advanced pronunciation practice. Some of these are going to be really obvious to you. Let me know in the comments which one is the most important to you. The first is more confidence. The leaders that I work with, and I say this every week because it's true, they're so smart. I love my clients. They're so smart and they're so just technically knowledgeable. But because you're constantly doubting your pronunciation, what that does is, even though you're trying to speak perfect English or you're trying to remember the pronunciation or the emphasis and the intonation, when you're thinking about that and you're trying to present and you're trying to have a conversation, it kills your personality. So you might be this amazing, enigmatic, charismatic person, but in English, you might feel like a more dim version of yourself. And that's because of this. So one of the benefits of doing this kind of training and really focusing on that next level pronunciation is you'll be able to speak more confidently and, most importantly, feel more confident. The next benefit is more money. Look, statistics show that, while it breaks my heart, I'm also here to be a realist and to serve you. If your accent is super strong to the point where especially to the point where it impacts clarity, it's going to impact the kind of funding you receive. If you're, because that impacts your pitch, for example, that impacts your job interview, that impacts your client presentation. So you'll be able to land more deals, you'll be able to take advantage of more opportunities, and that of course leads to more money. Another benefit is more fluency. So this is where you come to me for advanced pronunciation, but my goal is actually to give you the tools for fluency. Because a lot of times, especially with the upper intermediate to advanced level English learners, you want to perfect your English. You're like, I'm ready. Like, I just want to fix it, is usually what people tell me. But that leads to a very specific, rigid academic kind of practice. So, with the kind of training that you're going to receive today and that you'll see with the program, it's really about pronunciation as a tool for fluency, which is your tool for communication. Because at the end of the day, that's why we learn languages. That's why you know English. And one of the other benefits that I love is more connections. This is both professionally and personally. I work with a lot of people who live in the US, for example, or even if they live in their home country, they travel a lot for work at this level. And what happens is you might be a very outgoing person in your native language, but you might feel more shy or more reserved in English because you don't want to make mistakes. By doing this kind of advanced pronunciation training, you're able to be more yourself, which allows you to make more connections. This increases your network. It allows you to make new friends. It allows you to have a more authentic executive presence and be the kind of leader that I know you deserve to be. All right, now the next question, because I'm really curious about if the sounds that we go over today are also the sounds that you struggle with. Let me know in the comments what sound you struggle with when speaking English. So what are the sounds that even after all these years you're still unsure of? And as you're sharing that, and then we'll compare to see if the sounds that you're struggling with are the ones that we're going over today, I'm going to let you know the method. So, the way that you're going to learn with this program, and you'll see it today, is a specific proven method that I have devised from 2 decades of working in this. And not just 2 decades, because I grew up in a bilingual, bicultural household. So, I've always been exposed to linguistic differences. I've always been very aware of how accent, whether it's a regional accent, I'm from the South, whether it's an accent from another country, how that impacts perception and opportunity. So my method is mindsets, the MAC method, mindset, action, and customization. The first thing I do with every masterclass, because the program is divided into master classes that target very specific sounds, it's about breaking through your preconceived notions, your insecurities, any thoughts that I know are holding you back from a cognitive perspective. They're blocking you, they're not letting you learn in an effective manner. From an emotional perspective, that's what's keeping you insecure and what's not allowing you to be your most confident, genuine self. So we always start with that. Then action. I say that because learning or improving pronunciation is not about watching and listening. I don't do passive learning. You'll see in all the videos of the master classes, it's always this is what you need to do. Do this, look at yourself, fix that, move that. It's a very active approach. At this level of pronunciation, like I said before, your muscle memory, your muscles have been doing movements the wrong way or not the best way for years. So it's really going to be about getting the practice that you need to release that. Sometimes it's being silly, sometimes it's being repetitive. There are different ways to do it, but the goal is to teach your mouth what it needs to do after you've taught your brain how to let go. And then for customization, this is where it's all about the next level, because the practice for the muscle memory is going to be with high frequency words that are a little bit more basic, but that you use every day. Then for the customization, that's where I teach you at the end of every masterclass how to get sentences and practice that is specific to you, how to get sentences, how to get dialogue so that you can practice that's specific to your job, your position, your needs, the words that you actually like and want to use. Because at the end, you also get hundreds of B2 to C2 level words, but I don't want you to memorize them. It's about selecting the ones that are really relevant to you in your daily work and then learning how to use them. So customization is everything because you're not a student anymore. There's no test to pass. It's really about getting the practice that you need. Okay. The first thing is mindset. Today, breathe, relax your shoulders. You might be thinking, there's so much I don't know. As you're in the upper intermediate to advanced level, when you do this kind of training, you realize, oh, I thought I knew everything. Or you realize like there's still so much that you don't know. And it can be a little bit, can be a blow to the ego, can be humbling in a good way or a bad way. But usually that feels kind of heavy. So we're going to get rid of that. You're going to breathe. Something else that I focus on a lot with my training is the body. The body holds tension. So you have to teach it to release so that you can really be creative and access. If you ever felt that you freeze with English, that you can't get the right word at the right time, this kind of training helps. So relax your shoulders. So instead of being overwhelmed by how much you don't know, I want you to internalize like, wow, I know so much. You're literally sitting with me for almost an hour and you understand almost everything I'm saying. I'm a native speaker and you're comfortable with me. So the fact that you are able to have this kind of connection, this kind of training, this kind of listening comprehension, you know a lot. So we're going to build from a really strong foundation of both English and confidence. All right. Now, the first sound, and let me know if this is one of the ones that's challenging for you, the American TH. This one's really hard for most people because it's not a sound that's present in most languages. So your mouth has never made that sound. In addition to that, we have two. And a lot of people don't realize that. And so it can be confusing when you hear these slight variations and you're like, wow, Americans, they it sounds a little different, but I can't figure out why. Today you're going to learn. We have the voiced TH and the unvoiced TH. And those little symbols, you don't have to memorize it, but I find that IPA, the pronunciation symbols, are really helpful because even if you don't remember what they mean, you can at least look up if there's a difference. So I find it great as a reference tool. Now for the voiced, this one's easy. V and V. Voiced, you feel the vibration. And I'll show you how to do it. So for example, for this word, breathe. So first, it's the tongue placement. Should be the tip of your tongue. Don't go too far. That's going to sound too heavy. If you don't see your tongue, that's going to sound like a D or a heavy T. So you have to see a little bit, and then we're going to vibrate. So you kind of feel the vibration starting at the throat, and then it should, if you hold it, we're going to hold it for 3 seconds. It should almost tickle. You better be doing this. Remember, if you're just listening to me, you can't speak English better without speaking. So do it. The first word, breathe. When you're initially training for the voice TH, hold every TH for 3 seconds, and that's going to help you really be mindful about the placement. Breathe. Mother. Mother. And this goes for mother, brother, father. This. Good. So this is what I mean by we take high frequency, more basic words to work on the muscle memory. And then we build from that. And then we really get into the B2 to C2 level, the advanced words, because you want to practice with high frequency because you say the word this all day. So if you can get that, you're going to build your clarity and confidence, and then we're going to build your English on top of that. Now, the next TH is unvoiced. Unvoiced, just think about it as the opposite of vibration. You're going to feel air. Now, notice here, breathe, but for unvoiced, breath. So these are those little differences that when you start going through the training and you realize that the symbols are different, you can check yourself. It's an awesome feeling where you're like, oh. And then you start feeling good. All right, repeat after me. Breath. So here for this one, there's no vibration, and you can test if you're doing it correctly by putting your hand in front of your mouth. If you feel air, the air should be coming up in between your top teeth and the top of your tongue. Breath. Thanks. Now, here for the training, we hold it for 3 seconds to really activate that mindful movement. When you're speaking it, you just do it quickly. Thanks. But you need to hold it because, again, you've probably been using an incorrect placement for years. You're not going to fix it overnight. It takes mindful practice. But when you do this very strategically, you'll see better results faster. Teeth. Good. Teeth. So now you know there are 2 different types, and you know how to check it. One should tickle with a vibration, and one you should be able to feel it on your hand. And this is part of my strategy of it's action and actionable. You're going to get lots of tips in every masterclass for different sounds to make sure that you can check yourself. And that's very, very powerful. Now, the results of this kind of training, less confusion, more clarity. So now you know it might feel a little bit confusing at first of what do you mean that there are 2 TH sounds, but now you know that there are 2. You know the symbols, you know what they mean. You have some examples of high frequency words that will be helpful for you, and you know how to check yourself. And by being able to feel the vibration and feel the air, that's going to give you more clarity. Because a lot of times, if your TH especially if your tongue is staying inside your mouth. That's where you hear people say, huh? Or what? Because it sounds like duh, duh. And to a native speaker, this is one of the few, sometimes accents don't cause confusion. That's fine. This particular sound, the reason I started with it is because I do find that it causes a little bit of confusion. That's when you see people kind of react to a certain way to you, and that kills your confidence and you start doubting yourself. And so these are the moments that are going to build you up. Now, the other thing is, like I said, it takes more than once to fix or improve something that you've been doing incorrectly for years. So at the end of every masterclass, I've taken the full class and made it into an audio so you can put it on your phone or put it on your tablet or wherever and take it on the go. Because I love to give you enough resources to repeat it in a way that's dynamic and also to let you practice in different settings. Because when you're sitting in front of your computer, maybe you have your notepad and you're feeling more like a student. But when you're walking around the park, walking around the neighborhood, feeling it, listening to it, saying it, it gives you a different mindset and it allows you, I find it to be a more holistic approach because then you don't associate English with like your desk. You associate speaking and English with anywhere. So I find that this is really powerful. Now, the next sound that is very tricky is the R, the American R. Now, the reason is most people, the for a lot of languages, the R is further up, or in French, it's fully in your throat. So this particular tongue movement can be very challenging. So you need to really be mindful of where your tongue is in the space. So I'm going to teach you. And I love this picture. Also, when I looked up stock photography of people with tongues out, it was just weird. So the dog won. Now for the tongue, if you're saying words like red, if your tongue is up in the front, for example, great, great, that's going to sound accented. This is one of the things that I don't find it causes confusion, but I do find that it kind of hurts confidence and ego. So these are one of the things that it there's so many R's in American English that it really elevates your accent if that's your goal to have that American R. So again, you're going to look at your mouth and let's take a word like great. Great. You're going to push it back. Grrr. So what you want to practice is, and you can take really anything. You can take a stick, you can take a spoon, not like this part, but the handle, and you can push your tongue back because your tongue, you want to curl it. Uh, it's kind of curled and hanging out in the middle of your mouth. So if when you're practicing the words, if you feel your tongue up here, that's how you can think, okay, this is the accented R. Er, er. Sometimes I like to pretend, especially if you have kids and you're reading a story or like imitating an animal, you're like, "Arr," like a tiger or a lion, like, "Grr." So that's where I say being silly sometimes helps. You find moments where your tongue has done that movement and then you go from there. So pretend like you're a lion. Grr, 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 great. And in the master classes, I actually show you physically, you can take a toothpick, how to push your tongue, how to make sure that you train your mouth so it feels comfortable because it is going to feel weird at first. And that's okay. It's a new muscle. It's a new muscle movement. It gets better. Now let's practice some words here. R. So here it sounds like almost like a pirate movie, right? Like R. So if you're saying ar, or R, if it's in your throat or in the top tip of the mouth, we're going to pull it back. R. Or now I want it to feel weird at first, and then we're going to make it more natural. So exaggerate it. R. Notice my tongue curling. R. 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 Good. Her. This is also really good, especially if you tend to like French, love you, but you tend to not really make the H sound. So this is going to help you emphasize that. So the way that I do the training is it's never a singular sound. The sound is the focus, but we improve so much through that. So you really get more bang for your buck. Her. So you should feel the H. Her. Her. Also for Italians, we want to like really, if you're from a culture where the H's are soft or you don't really pronounce them, it's harder. her. So here your lips are out, the air is out, the tongue is back. Her. And now red. So here, and notice if I do the red, look at my lips. They're open, red. So here, part of the R sound is also the lips. So when you make this sound closer here and you include that with the tongue, it's harder to revert back to your native R, and it creates a more authentic R sound, American. Red. So if you're feeling yourself, if it's up here, pull it back, visualize your tongue. Or if you want like the muscle practice, let's say it's the mouth gym, which is what I call sometimes my master classes. You're going to take the tip of your tongue and you're going to touch the top of your mouth and bring it back. Uh, 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 and you're going to curl it. So sometimes if you're really struggling with, I don't know what the heck my tongue is doing in my mouth, but it doesn't sound like that, you're going to physically guide it. So I show you some other things in the master class, but for now you can just take and go the back, touch the top of your mouth so you physically guide it until it curls. And then bring it and let it loose. Red. Good. And notice here there are different placements. The R in the middle of the word, the R at the end, the R at the beginning. So then you start finding out where it's easier to make the American R, so you feel success. And then you start realizing like, oh, when the R is at the beginning of words, that's where it's a little more challenging, and you can focus your practice and tailor it. Good. Now, as you saw there, again, basic high frequency words, but this is an advanced pronunciation program. So one of the bonuses that I have for you is one of my favorite things, virtual flashcards. And I absolutely love these because, let me show you the bigger screen. This is where I made a list of B2 to C2 level words that I actually like. So they're not just completely random list or something that would be good for a TOEFL test, for example, or Cambridge exam. Those are wonderful tests, but they don't always give you the most relevant words. So I want to make sure that they're words that you can actually use. So here you're going to get your flashcards that look like this. So on one side, it's going to be the B2 to C2 level word, and I tailor it to the lesson. So all the words in this flashcard set, for example, they all have R's. So you're practicing the muscle, and then you can study these 5 minutes every day. I love the app, so you can do it on your phone. And you've done the muscular practice, and then we're incorporating that high level English. And this is where you actually get usable pronunciation practice. So, for example, arbitrary. Then on the other side, because it's not about memorization, what I have here, I included the definition, but I include 3 sentences for each word. Because what I actually want you to do is not test if you know the word. I want you to practice reading out loud. So you've got the word, the R sound, but then with the other master classes, you're going to learn intonation and emphasis, and you're going to be able to say those sentences, read them out loud, because pronunciation is not about individual words. You're not at this level for that. And in leadership positions, especially, you need to be able to express yourself in a way that's a little more elevated. And this is going to help you because the sentence structure that I use here, it's elevated, but it's not overly formal. So there are things that I could see you saying in a meeting very comfortably. And to go back, when you elevate your English, you're less insecure. When you're less insecure, you're more confident. So this is why, because I understand, and it comes from a good place when people are like, oh, I want C2 level. And sometimes the reaction they get from certain teachers or coaches is like, no, you don't need it. I get it. And no, you don't need C2 level. But if you are a very eloquent, well-spoken person in your native language, it probably doesn't feel authentic to use more basic words or basic structure in English. There's nothing wrong with it, and American English is actually very casual. So it's a good thing, but it feels good. It feels good to be able to be yourself. And I understand that because even for myself, being bilingual, I find that I have a much more elevated descriptive structure in English than I do in Spanish because I speak English more and I speak it more in a professional capacity. And when I do switch over and I try to articulate those same thoughts in Spanish, even though it's also my native language, I struggle and I hate that feeling. So I get it. Where you're like, okay, I know I might not need the same words, but that's part of my identity is to be have that kind of eloquence. And so it's very frustrating. And so this is where you're able to get the pronunciation clarity, but also elevate your level in a way that's they're very real life examples. Now, the third thing that we're going to go over today, it's not a sound in particular, but it is one of the most challenging things. And this is where all of my clients and students come to me and tell me, I want to speak like a native speaker. However you feel about that statement, it's what people think they want. And so we always start by examining what does being speaking like a native speaker mean? And sometimes it's a little bit controversial, especially in the language industry. But having studied other languages, I know what you mean. What you actually want is to be able to speak English like yourself, not always doubt yourself, to also not sound robotic. And the answer to that is connected speech. This is a big component. All of the master classes that I do, all of the examples that I do, I always highlight and help you understand the connected speech patterns so you can speak smoothly. It's not always that native speakers speak faster. It's because of connected speech that sometimes 5 words sound like one, and you'll see in the practice that we do, not necessarily because of speed, but because of the way that we link and blend sounds. So when you understand this, your listening comprehension improves and your speaking becomes so much smoother, more natural, and you don't because I find sometimes my clients will overcompensate and they'll try to speak faster because they think that makes them sound more fluent. But when you do this training, then they realize, oh, okay, I don't have to speak faster. It's going to sound faster, but it's going to be the clarity is so much better. So let me give you an example. There are many different components or subsections of connected speech. The two that I focus on in the course, and I'm going to do, more of the other ones, but linking and blending are the ones that are the most used. So today I'm specifically going to show you linking. Now, linking with connected speech, when a word in English ends in a consonant sound, because sometimes we have silent E, but the sound is consonant and the next word begins with a vowel sound, you're going to link it. So basically, you're not going to pause, and the last sound is going to go into the next word. So instead of goal is. When you're doing connected speech training, the way that you can check, am I speaking faster or am I doing connected speech? You should be able to say it really slowly and still hear the linking. Otherwise, you're just trying to say it faster. And the other benefit of understanding the IPA, the pronunciation symbols, notice is. It's IS, but it's not pronounced is. So if you've done that, you'll be able to see this during your practice and you'll realize, oh, it's a Z sound. Okay. So it's not goal is, go Liz. And then it's not goa, but go, goal is. Good. And once you realize these patterns, because again, it's not about memorization, it's more pattern recognition, you'll see it and hear it everywhere. And it's like when you get a new pair of glasses and you can see like you get the right prescription. It's like, oh, English is so much clearer. It's a really cool feeling. So let's try an example. And we're going to go slow first, and then we're going to do it 3 times and do it a little bit more naturally each time. Repeat after me. My goal is to speak English fluently. And notice we have another connected speech opportunity. Speak, consonant sound, English, vowel sound, speak English. All right, again, my goal is to speak English fluently. Okay, relax your shoulders, breathe, visualize, because visualization is a really good component. You're not practicing English for isolation. Imagine you're talking to a coworker. You're like, yeah, my goal is to speak English fluently. Okay. So that's where by doing it 3 times, and that'll come up again later, each time you want to do it more naturally, and the visualization helps you with intonation and body language. So remember, you're not doing this to pass a test, you're practicing for real life. Now, at the end of everything, as I've shown you before, one of the biggest components of the master classes that I love for you and what really differentiates it and helps you take it to the next level, and it's a way that you get the kind of training that I do with my one-on-one clients, but obviously I can't have one-on-one with everyone, but this allows you to get that kind of tailored, bespoke kind of resource. So what you'll see at the end of every section, and let me make this bigger here, is I'll show you how to use ChatGPT to optimize your practice. And so at the end of every masterclass, I have a specific template, and they're each different because I really want you to understand how to optimize your prompts, which is what you ask ChatGPT. I have a template for you, and then I have the result for that one, and I show you how you can modify it to insert your particular career or job or situation. So for example, this one, let's say during when you're looking at your virtual flashcards of the advanced vocabulary, you realize, oh, I really like the word nebulous. I feel like that kind of fits what I want to talk about. So you can take this prompt, copy and paste it and put it in ChatGPT. You can then modify it because that's the customization. You can change the word that you want. You can change the industry if you work in a different industry. So here, creating 15 sentences using nebulous for discussing the economy in a pharmaceutical industry meeting, blending professional and conversational advanced English. So every prompt, some of them are really long and some of them are concise because they're meant to get you the most specific practice. So then you have resources and you're able to, if you're working in the pharmaceutical industry and you know you're going to talk about the economy, you'll be able to participate more. You'll feel more confident about it. It's so good. The way that we can use technology for language advancement is amazing. And as a language acquisition nerd and a linguistics nerd, I love sharing this kind of stuff with you. So let's take a look at one of the sentences that we have. So here, I'm like, okay, this feels like something this person could say in a meeting and really relevant. Now, in addition to the customization, I also teach you emphasis and intonation. There's a whole masterclass about it, but it's something that I incorporate with connected speech in every single practice. That's how important this is. And this is something that at the highest levels, I find still causes confusion. I teach you how to breathe to speak more fluently. I teach you how to understand how to chop the sentences because Americans speak in chunks, not in thoughts. It's very fascinating deep dive. So let me show you an example and you can practice with me. So here I've combined what you've learned. So I underlined the connected speech moments for linking, and I divided the sentence in a way that is the way you could read it. Intonation and emphasis, it's not an exact science. There's no right or wrong. There's just good or better for your purpose. So there is some flexibility. So let's take a look at this one and go ahead and repeat after me. And remember, each section, you're going to do a tiny inhale at the beginning of each section. I'll get closer to the mic so you can hear it. Our company's resilience in the face of nebulous economic challenges demonstrates our commitment to long-term success. It's going to feel awkward at first because the kind of breath work, most people will breathe at the beginning of a sentence and don't breathe until the end. But that gives you, it's exhausting, and it's not the natural American cadence. So playing around with the chunks and the way that you breathe, it's okay if it feels awkward at first, but it trains your lungs, it trains your mind so that you can do this without thinking later. Now here, the real improvement, it's not just reading it once. The first time always sucks. Even when I'm reading it for the first time, it's not the best. You always want to read a sentence 3 times. And imagine how much practice you get. Every virtual flashcard has 3 sentences. You read each one 3 times. This is where the first time is awkward. The second time, you're kind of you're hearing where you want to do the breaks and you're seeing the connected speech opportunities. The third one, you're visualizing and you're just trying to say it naturally without overthinking. This is where you train your brain to stop overthinking about pronunciation. Let's try it. Repeat after me. Our company's resilience in the face of nebulous economic challenges demonstrates our commitment to long-term success. So notice there, it's not perfect. It kind of feels like when you're a car in manual and we want to go automatic. That's okay. And notice here, because I divided it this way, resilience and in are separate. I didn't put any connected speech underlining. If I didn't want to stop there or pause there, resilience in, there would be connected speech. So this is where you want Connected speech and intonation work go hand in hand because they affect each other. All right. Relax your shoulders. Visualize you're in the meeting. You're like, I'm going to speak up. Or maybe you're the one leading the presentation. Our company's resilience in the face of nebulous economic challenges demonstrates our commitment to long term success. Oh, okay, okay. I feel like the CEO in front of the boardroom. Let's try again. Remember, 3 times. That's when the magic happens. You're visualizing. You're presenting. You're here. Let's take a look at the tone. So the economy's bad, but the commitment is good. So the tone is going to be confident, motivational. This is not a negative thing. You're talking about resilience is a good thing. Your face should reflect that. Our company's resilience in the face of nebulous economic challenges demonstrates our commitment to long-term success. Woo-hoo-hoo! See, this is where when you do the visualization, it gives you the confidence to speak in a way where the delivery, the intonation, the emphasis, they're all a result of advanced pronunciation and connected speech practice. All of that together, which is what I focus on in every single masterclass, is what allows you to speak English clearly and confidently. And just so you know, a little sneak peek into the Advanced Pronunciation Accelerator program, the masterclasses are awesome. They range from technical to very specifically American. So the technical classes includes things like the schwa, vowels, the ed, for example, simple past. Sure, it sounds simple, but there are 3 different ways to pronounce it. The th, there are 2 different ways to pronounce it. The L, there's dark L and light L. The consonants B, P, V, W are very challenging for a lot of language backgrounds, and it's all about the lips. So these are more on the technical side. Then for American English, because this is why you're with me, things like American reductions, silent letters. And I don't give you every word with the silent letter. I really go through what my clients at the advanced level still struggle with. For example, the word answer. The amount of times I hear non-native speakers say answer, even though they've been speaking English for decades, it's okay. You didn't know you were doing it, but the W is silent. Answer, sir. So these are moments that will give you so much clarity and help your English feel so much more elevated. Connected speech, obviously, disappearing syllables. So these are all things that will also contribute to your fluency. And the bonuses, so many bonuses. I have flashcards for all of the IPA symbols, if that's something that you're interested in, all the phonetic sounds. You get access to, I think I have right now, 3 bonus courses. You have master classes that are there. I also do monthly live master classes. So you can join me and I actually see you in the video and I can pull you up. And if you have any questions or if you want to do the practice while I'm teaching, we can do that live and you get feedback. So many wonderful things available to you. This is one of the programs that I'm most proud of because I know it's what you need. It's what I've seen all my clients struggle with. And it breaks my heart because it's not hard to fix, but it is hard to find the fix. And so I've tried to really curate the most specific list of skills and sounds that I know will give you better results faster. That's my motto for this one. Because again, one of the unique challenges for you as a professional, as a leader, being a non-native speaker is not only do you have to know all of the technical things that your colleagues know, all of the leadership and communication skills, you also have to worry or be cognizant of your pronunciation because that could be holding you back. It might be impacting your confidence. It might be impacting your body language. So by doing this kind of training, my goal for you is to feel confident, look confident, and sound confident. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.